Casting with Ceri Jones.
Hey guys, and welcome to this week's podcast. This week's episode, I'm joined by two guests. Both are Welsh internationals. One a brown bowl winner and top rod in this year's trials, and the other currently manager of the Welsh Team. Talk about the Stillwater International scene and also the local club water, Llyn Fawr, a club I am also a member of, and when it all started for me all those years ago. We chat about the fish farm where the club bring on some amazing fish to stock at the Llyn. And also talk about fly tying, in which they give their top patterns which have brought them success over the years. Welcome to my chat with Di Jones and Matthew Pate. I was been on the cards a while I wanted to do this podcast with two of you together. What jogged my mind again now this week, I thought we got to do this. And as I saw your photograph, you must have the trials lately. Was it, what do you say it was, Fox Hill?
Fox Hill, yeah.
And I see both of you in the picture, and you were top rod. And then Matt then was the manager.
Team manager, yeah.
And you're the team manager now for the second year, is it?
Yeah, it's my second term. I took over after Jamie sort of not give up. He sort of had enough really. He did it for, I think, best part of 10, 11 years, I think Jamie did it for. So I think he did his term, and then obviously then I took over as team manager in 2023 for New Haley. So this is my second year now.
How did you do New Haley?
I think we was third in New Haley. Difficult water. It was a bit of a weird setup, it is, because it was like a deep part and it was like a shallow part with like this. It was quite difficult. So one half of the lake fished totally different to the other half of the lake, which was a bit of a challenge, especially with the pressure, because obviously with the Bank International, there's 24 anglers and the captains and the coaches or the managers, so there's quite a lot of pressure. But we did okay, like.
Did you fish that one, Di?
Yeah.
How did you do?
I enjoyed it up there. Like the top half of the lake, most places like 3 foot deep with the weed and up there. But like Martha said, the bottom of the lake was real deep. But it was cracking on the bottom, good fishing.
Yeah.
So
Going back to Fox Hill now. That's a new water that is down in Carmarthen way, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's been open a couple of years now, yeah. But he's never been really published a lot about it.
Yeah.
But only the last year or so, innit?
I think he's been open about 18 months, I think. I think it was dug. Steve, the guy who owns it, he dug it, relatively new. He dug it for him and his mates to have a little play about on. But then, obviously, I think what happened is he dug it. He let it settle, him and his mates started fishing, and he decided to open it to the public again. But I know we've been going up there now a couple of times. We had a couple of trials up there, and we've had a couple of days up there. We had a masterclass up there where we took the Welsh team and people bought into the masterclass. And I think Steve is now going to extend the lake out. Plan to extend to go from 12 or 13 pegs to 28 pegs.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little fishery. It's a nice little fishery.
I've never been there.
Don't get me wrong, it's a bit of a trek for us because it's about an hour and 45 minutes for us. But, I mean, it's a good fish, good stock.
The fishing up there is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like the other weekend, it was blowing 60 miles an hour, and all the fish were in the surface.
What's that, on the
trials?
trials?
Yeah. On the trial day, sorry.
The trial was, we went up on the Saturday, we stayed the night, and we obviously, me and Di were in the room, and Di was eating his tin of mackerels. And
I saw a picture of it. The job was 2 single beds.
Yeah, it was. I was on the smallest one, being the biggest out of the two of us. But yeah, it was mad. The 2 days were totally different. On the Sunday, well, I forgot my waterproofs.
Or practice day, and then the
practice day was nice, quite mellow. Little bit of a wind, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But
sunny spell as well, wasn't it?
On the Sunday, it was torrential. 60 mile an hour gusts, 30 mile an hour winds, hammering down. Well, I got soaked twice to my pants because I forgot my waterproofs. I did. So
if you was on the far bank, you had to lean into the wind. Otherwise, you were blowing in there.
Really?
Meant that it was.
But
what was the your you were top rod, didn't you?
Yeah.
So what was your technique?
I went out on 2 floating lines. One floating line and a 3-foot midge tip. Pair of brandlings on both rods and just fishing them back slow. It's just a case of getting a nice cast out in between the wind and then just fishing back slow and then out all day. I can manage...
Was it pegs? You go round the lake?
Yeah, every 40 minutes, move pegs. I can manage 14 a day.
And what was you catching on?
Brandlings. Red
Yeah.
It's a cracking pattern a bit. On the Sunday, we practiced on the Sunday. And it was a little bit slow. On the Saturday, sorry, it was a little bit slow. But then, obviously, when it's get a bit slow, Brandon seemed to be a go-to fly. So then on a Sunday afternoon...
That's like the apps.
It's like a 4-legged rubber worm or
Yeah,
apps, whatever you want to call it. On the Saturday afternoon then, both of us switched to the Brandons and we started picking fish up consistently, and so obviously we took out the Sunday, and then obviously Di made it work for him on the Sunday, which, fair play, you mean, in the conditions. Well, all the ones who took part in the trial needed a pat on the back because the conditions were horrendous. So
yeah. Do you know what? It was I covered the international where you had the brown bull.
Yeah.
Down in Garmford 2 years ago, I think it was, is it?
The 22 hour.
Yeah. Now, I could get my head around the way that the marking, the system, because it was in 2 halves, wasn't it? Now, you could have had more fish than anyone else, but because they just started it in 2 sections, didn't they?
Yeah.
You know, it was like, almost like, in effect, 2 days in 1 day, the way they did the mark.
So the morning competition, and you got the afternoon competition then.
Yeah.
On placing points, and then the placing point places you where you are. It's like whatever you measure gives you points, and then the placing points then puts you in your position.
It's not the easiest system to work out,
No,
does
it's
it?
not.
No. And what I remember about it was that day, I think for the first hour, there was hardly a fish caught.
No.
And it was like, you'd expect the rods, boom, 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 everywhere then.
They normally are, every competition, and as soon as 9 o'clock comes, both people into fish.
I think maybe because it was the temperature, it was November, wasn't it? And it was fierce cold. Maybe they just didn't feed until they started warm up. And I was watching you, I came round, I was taking photographs. And I noticed you were on intermediate and pulling, weren't you?
Yeah, that's all I fish about. Aqualux.
Is it?
And worms normally. Either worms or bluebee damsels. Always do the trick up and gone. Always have, do you mean?
When you fishing these worms then, do you fish them on the intermediate as well?
On the intermediate normally.
Is it pulling?
Yeah. But
you wouldn't fish in a bang like? No?
No.
It's actually moved, you only move?
I bring them back slow. I do. So what happens there, with the 2 legs off the front, they fold over at the back and it makes like a pulsating worm in the water. So obviously the more you twitch them, the more the legs twitch.
Me personally, I fish worms on a slow ridge clear line. That's my favourite line. I fish a single worm, apps, whatever you want to call them, and bang a line out and just, I won't tell you what we really call the retrieve, it's censored, but then you sort of like big, long, sharp pulls, stop. It's a really effective way of fishing for rainbow trout.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's what we do in here, like small Stillwater fishing. Well, you know, care from the magazine features we used to do years ago. I mean,
you catching fish, like when we did a few features back, geez, I don't know, good few years now. Those flies and the chamois, you were catching a lot on them.
Yeah, I mean, when the worms came about, like in everybody's box now, they were like a secret fly kept secret for years by certain people, and then they come out and everybody started using them, but they're a deadly method even now. I mean, like I use the same like worm apps pattern now as what I did when we used to do the features. Yeah. Again, the chamois fly was a controversial thing when we first started using that, but again now, it's in everybody's boxes, like, you know. So
not in my box.
Well, some people...
No. You don't fish much?
I can't stand it, I can't.
What, chamois?
No, I've always seen them do well, eh? I've tried it, just don't work for me.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah,
I give up with it. I have all different colours, different beads, all sorts. Nothing. I just give up with that now.
And it's mad because you find that some people hate them, some people love them. And it's like, well, I love them, Di hates them. And seeing the amount we used to catch, well, remember Brookfields? Remember we went up to Brian's in Brookfields? That was the fly. We were slamming them up. Remember where the water came in at the top?
Yeah.
That was the fly. We were just chucking into the flow there, the chamois. Every cast, bang, bang. But Like I say, some people love him, some people hate him. It's like a really Marmite fly.
You were saying now you're the manager. Does that mean you obviously got to, as a manager, you've got to sort of book the accommodation and sort of get the team together to arrange things? But is it a tactical coach as well?
Well, I think, all in all, I think me and Di and Howell, Morgan, all these people have been involved with the bank team for, I think my involvement, I think I've been involved for like 10, 12 years, something like that. So, yeah, I mean, it's knowledge, innit? It's experience. And I suppose maybe it was a natural thing for me to do, was to take on the managerial role because of the experience and to try and push and keep the team going, because it's not very popular in Wales, small stillwater fishing. When I say popular, the bank trials, they don't get a lot of numbers.
Why is that then?
I don't know. And don't get me wrong, it was a bit of a nightmare for me last year to try and get trials going. I do want to try and do something different and try and break the monkey's back, so to speak, and try and get people in. But it's difficult now because we haven't got a lot of small stillwaters left in Wales, and there's not a lot of interest in competition fishing in small stillwaters, so to speak. Like, I mean, years ago we'd have like the winter leagues and stuff, but now we haven't got nothing for that. We haven't got no places to do it. So,
like if one for that Fox Hill now, it'd only be gone fruit. That's still going, I guess, isn't it?
yeah, I think Jamie's still going. Yeah.
There's one or two in North Wales, perhaps. That's it.
Got Crynant,
Papermill.
Abernant. There are still small stillwaters in South Wales still going, in the valley, so to speak.
We don't hear much of them anymore, do you?
But they sort of like, I don't want to say stuck in their old ways, which is a wrong thing to do because you don't want to, paint a bad picture, but I don't know.
6 in the team, isn't it?
Yeah, 6 in the team. They haven't come into the modern way of fishing, so catch and release and stuff like that. Like, do you mean?
And you need a water that can comfortably fish 24.
Yeah.
And small still waters have to push some of them. So maybe it's just like years ago. Do you remember Peterstone? Peterstone down in it's a Carp Lake now. Down in
Newport way, like Newport, Cardiff way. I remember Peterstone. I don't remember.
Yeah, and Ken Mabley.
Kevin Mabley.
We used to fish that a lot, didn't
we? They were nice sized waters and they were popular. Like.
Tell you we used to love about Kevin Mabley. We used to do a winter trip down there, didn't we?
Every year, huh?
And we did pound a can of strongbow.
A what?
Pound a can of strongbow.
What do you mean pound a can of strongbow?
Well, remember the lodge with the big log fire? We used to go down there trout fishing.
Oh, pay a pound for a can of strongbow.
And you have a can of strongbow for £1. So a can of bow for £1. That's what we used to go down there for.
Do you ever cast a line then?
We would have like an hour or two, and then we'd always be falling back on the cans in.
That one year was soaking wet, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I always remember one of the boys coming into the lodge, kicking his boots off, and had his socks, big log fire like you got upstairs, and like 2 pieces of bacon, checking them on the fire, just steam going everywhere.
Yeah. That's carp again now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't long after that last trip there that they actually turned into carp. I think it's about 6 months after we went there, the last trip.
Yeah.
Turned into carp. But yeah, so there's not many places left.
So if anybody wanted to get into the Stillwater bank team, the trials, who would they have to get in touch with? I suppose the website. You got to.
Yeah, well, the trial. First of all, you've got to be affiliated to a club who are affiliated with Worcester, Welsh Team and Angling Association, and then through that club, you get access then to the trial forms, and then you can enter the trial through the affiliated club. That's the way you do it. I suppose a little bit old-fashioned.
Going on now back to the trips we used to have with the trout fishermen.
Yeah.
There was we went to a few, and we went to that Ennisable, went to the Lynches.
Yeah.
Where else did we go now?
We had Llyn Hall.
Llyn, that was a good. Yeah, we always had something funny happening. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We went up, and what I used to really enjoy about going to Llyn Hall, that's still going, I think. We used to have prawns. Not prawns. Crayfish.
Yeah, I remember the crayfish.
Yeah.
But I've been to Llyn Hall twice with you. Me, you and Di went
For the feature.
in the winter, in the feature. We did a second feature, remember, in the summer with Tony Parker and Russell Hill, remember?
Yes, that's right.
And if you remember, we had an invitation to go metal detecting.
That's right. Yeah.
And
Jeez, I forgot about that.
do you remember the three of us walking through the field? I had shorts and T-shirt on. Russell had a crushed velvet suit on. and he was dressed like something out of the
Camo and stuff.
Camo and stuff. Right? So it was like, if someone had seen us walking through the field, they would have thought to themselves, well, I never would have put those 3 people dressed like that in a field metal detecting.
Yeah. One with a probe, one with a shovel, and the other one's detecting.
Yeah.
And we found stuff as well.
Yeah,
actually.
we found loon weights, remember? Loon weights, the little cartridges they used to scare the seagulls up in World War II, or pigeons up in it. We have a Llyn Hall, and not just Llyn Hall, whenever we do a feature, the Llyn, remember the one we did at the Llyn, like the 4 seasons in one, didn't we? It had snow.
Yeah, but I was looking at the pictures of that today, actually.
Yeah.
Me and you done Glady when you fell off the boat seat.
Oh, yeah.
Cracked the camera and threw the boat
The boat
seat
seat
overboard.
broke and so threw it into the water. Yeah. Well, one of the funniest things I remember was like, I said, do you fancy going up to Lechley, the Bushy And he said, yeah, come along. Like, so when we, on the way, I said, you haven't been here before? He says, no. I said, well, it's quite a posh place. And you come with your like, leggings, didn't you? And you felt like paranoid, and I think,
Yeah.
So you had to borrow my waterproof trousers.
Yeah, I turned up a shorts and t-shirt, and I always got shorts.
Shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah,
was
and
it?
I thought, it's a bit posh, so I felt a bit out of place, so I had to borrow a pair of oilskins, which were like about 10 sizes
It was
too
a hot
small for me.
summer's day as well, wasn't it?
Well, if you remember, we had a little snooze on the lawn, didn't we, remember?
That's right, you tried to knock me in my nose, I remember, right?
And I tell you the date, it was May 21st, because it was my nephew's birthday.
Oh, was it?
And I remember the video of me singing happy birthday, putting the trout's mouth to sing happy birthday to him, videoing
Oh, that's right, yeah. You had a few big fish then.
Yeah. Yeah,
Was it with the scent?
No, I couldn't get a time off work.
Ah,
We had two. One was like £13.8, and the other was like £10.4.
Yeah, we fly time. That's
But then we went up on that river then. That was, to me, that was the best part of the day, that was. Remember the little river we were flicking those little mayfly nymphs in?
Yeah,
and we were
yeah,
swimming
you
like
could see
10
them
foot to
kind
take
of-
them.
Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you probably started fishing exactly the same place, different times, as I did. You started off in the Llyn. Did you fish anywhere else before then, or how did you get into the fishing in the Paraboo?
I think it was Gordon Evans when it got me into it when I was a kid. There used to be an old man, our street, me and Matthew used to live a door apart from each other in Halifax into it.
I live number 22 and Di live number 24, so like
So
we've
you?
grown up
Yeah.
together, yeah.
So always together, but it was an old man, my father's friend, a family friend, Gordon Evans. He used to fish with his boy over the Llyn, and he used to take me back and forth. I think it all started from then, and with the river, we'd always been on the river.
Yeah, and like obviously with me and Di, we've been friends since we were like born, basically, because we obviously lived a door away from each other. Obviously, Di got into fishing, and then it was natural, and I started going fishing with him, and then, how long was that? 10, maybe 10, 11.
Younger than I, and the fish farm, we'd always be back full of fish farms.
So now, obviously, then going back and forth the Llyn, which is obviously where you sort of learned to fish with
yeah.
Tommy Haywood and all the old boys.
Do you remember Tommy?
I remember Tommy. I remember Tommy because he lived
Mountain Terrace.
in Mountain View,
Yeah.
but he had family in my grandmother's street in Miskin Street. So that's how I remember Tommy, because he'd always like, oh, you kitty, how you moral, I say, my grandmother, my grandfather, like. But, so yeah, then that's what happened then. So we joined the Llyn, and then the second part of going to the Llyn then is going down to the fish farm, because the fish farm is like at the bottom of our street. And then that's when we got really involved in things then. So we've been going to the fish farm since we were 10, 11 years of age. And now we're like sort of key parts of the club now. Like obviously Di's vice treasurer for the club. And obviously I'm chairman of the club. So that hasn't happened by accident. Obviously the old members knew what we were like and knew, so it's just basically become a natural progression from being members of the club, heavily involved with the club. And so we do it all basically.
I remember when I started, I used to catch a train up to Treherbert, and then meet Tommy, and we'd walk over the Llyn. You'd walk over every day, you would. Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah.
And,
We used to in the 6 weeks holidays, didn't we? We
6 weeks holidays.
used
Early in the
to,
morning.
yeah.
We get a lift back in the afternoon now.
For us, see, with our street, Halifax Terrace, it was like, if you think about the way it is at the Rickos, it's halfway up the Rickos. So we used to walk up to a place called Fernhill, and you're halfway up the Rickos.
Yeah, yeah,
And we
that's
like,
it.
Thumb a lift then,
Yeah,
walked up the other side over there to the Llyn.
yeah. So you started off, I guess, the river, because the Upper Rother Angling, they had stretched the river and the Llyn. Did you fish the river first then, did you?
No,
You never fished the river?
it was the other way around for us.
Yeah, Llyn.
I started fishing the Llyn.
first.
We fished the Llyn, then we went to the fish farm, and then we started the river then, because We used to help stock the river then, because we used to stock the river with buckets then back in the day. And then obviously we were seeing where the fish were going, and then we started fishing the river as well then, so
Yeah.
it was the other way around for us, really.
I only fished the river a handful of times. You don't do any river fishing at all?
Nothing at all anymore. We did done a bit on the Taft, didn't we?
Yeah.
For the
Did you?
grading, things like that. Like.
What do you think of that grayling fishing?
Cold it is, winter time.
Yeah, I find that. I just don't do nothing in the winter. It's like old school. It's like, you know, you finish end of September and then you just wait then for March the 1st or whatever it is now, 3rd, they change it, and but the Llyn now is open now till end of the year, isn't it?
Yeah, March the 1st is December 23rd.
December the 31st,
Yeah.
New Year's Eve. So, but yeah, I mean, we used to do a bit of grayling fishing. We went up the Wye and the Usk, and we did a little bit of river fishing, nothing serious.
You both, as well as being committee members, then you can say, you both got a big part in the farm, the trout farm.
Yeah.
Do you do the trout farm as well?
Not so much anymore.
No.
But every chance I get, like.
Because our farm has been here, I don't know if it was from the start of the club. But
No, 1984.
84.
It was built the year before we were born.
All right. Then.
And I was up in a place called Blencombe, up where the old farm horse riding school was. But what they were finding back in the day, I remember like obviously the older boys who used to tell me and die everything, and up that side, Blencombe side, they would have acid rain down so they would have to mess about with the water, so they'd have to filter the water 4 or 5 times through like shells and chalk and stuff. So what they did then, they had an opportunity to move onto the site it is now, and then they built the farm and then moved site in. But that was in the year before we were born, so that was 1984. So the farm is where it is now, has been here for 41 years.
So the water was cleaner coming from Blaenrondder area
Yeah.
than it was coming down from the Blencombe side.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how that happens. I don't know, it's something to do with the pH levels and all that. But yeah.
Like I've been lucky enough, I've been to a lot of club waters over the country, and not saying it just because I'm local here, but I think it's probably the best looking lake to start with that I've been to, and the best trout. It's had issues up and down the years with small trout and losing fish, but in recent years there's nothing to touch it, is it? Like, you know, it wasn't uncommon the last season and the season before to have like 5, 6, 7, 10 pound trout on dries.
Yeah.
You know, and it's got everything, the Llyn. It's got the steep bank, the deep water, you got the dam, and the shallow grass bank. It's got it all, really, like.
The Llyn changed when as soon as we changed over the catch and release, right?
Yeah. Well, what happened, there's a couple of, obviously, I don't know how long ago was that. I should imagine that was probably about 10, 12 years ago. Obviously, the club went through a bit of a transition because the members who were running the lake and they were running the fish farm, obviously they were getting on and getting older, so we sort of came back into the fold a little bit more then and sort of took over some more responsibility. So what we did, we were struggling with members for whatever reason back then. I don't know what it was. And then, so what we decided to do was change the focus a little bit, rather than focusing on the fish farm because that's where the fish were coming from. We changed the focus to focus on the fishing, to get the fishing right, and then obviously then that would bring the members, which would bring the money, which would then support the fish farm, because you'd have the money to do what you were supposed to be doing. Now, that wasn't just me and Di. There was a handful of people. Craig Pritchard, his father's Bobo, he was one of the ones that built the original fish farm. There's a couple of other boys who came on board then, Ben Shepherd. There's like a good bunch of boys, you know what I mean? And together sort of like changed the way that the club worked, and that's how it is what it is now, really. And now we've got full membership, we've got a waiting list, and like you said, we got some really good fish coming through as well.
Do you find this most anglers now still catch and release, or they catch and kill? I guess the older crowd like to kill fish.
It's not as much as they was. They tend to be doing more catch and release now than they're doing catch and kill. They still take a couple every week. Like they're allowed to take 12 fish a week anyway. But most of them now you see them up there fishing all the time. So they know now they can go up there, catch 4 fish and they got to go. And that's the end of the day.
It's education, it is. Because you don't really, I remember when we went to the committee meetings and we were saying, look, let's introduce catch and release. And it was like, no.
They didn't want to know,
They didn't want to know. Because, we'll have fish that are manky, we'll have fish that have got white on them, we'll have dead fish, we'll have this, we'll have mishandling. So we kept on. Sometimes we fought a losing battle because we get outnumbered, obviously then by the older committee, which, okay, they've had bad experience in the past, which is fine. But then we kept at it. And obviously then, through us going to all these places with the likes of you and getting a bit of exposure and fishing these places and see what other clubs are doing, we brought that back, and then we decided to introduce catch and release. And then, again, that's where they went from strength to strength then. Because, like Di said, you know what I mean? Now, with a little bit of education over the years, they've come over to the catch and release. But again, you still have to have that balance of killing fish, putting fish back to keep the turnover of fish.
The thing is, with the Llyn, it's 70 foot deep in it, so you don't really get bad fish in it.
Yeah.
Do you mean? You always got cold water all year
Yeah,
round.
we've got good water.
Yeah.
No weed problems in it.
You buy them in at certain size, do you?
Yeah, fingerlings in it.
You don't strip them up, no?
No. Years ago they did, but we don't do that now. We did, where the fish farm is now. Remember me and you used to go up there to me. We'd go up there some nights. We used to have our own hatchery, so we'd have eggs, fertilised
Maybe
eggs.
fluffing all the eggs in.
And then me and Dad go up in the nights, and we'd be rolling the eggs with feathers, and we'd have like pipettes, we'd be taking out all the dead eggs because they'd... So we did all that, but to what effect in the end? Because of the dirty water we'd have them down, we weren't getting the benefit from it.
We had like 20,000 eggs in, we.
Yeah.
And you'd be lucky to have 6,000 fish left of it. Plus your losses then through the season, through dirty water coming into the farm, you'd probably be lucky with 3,000 fish, right?
Yeah.
So how long does it take to go from, what do you buy them in, really, 3 inches, something like that, is it?
Well, now, we were buying them 60 grams and then bringing them on ourselves up to a pound and a half. And then we'd have we got 4 tanks in the fish farm. We got 2 big tanks, 2 small tanks. So they'd go through the fish farm, like the size cycle. And then what we'd do then, we'd retain 1,500 fish to winter to grow on. So then we'd have the bigger fish then to start the season off while the fish were coming behind. So that's where we'd have the bigger fish. And then we'd also have, we got like 2 lagoons where we got some of the big double-figure fish which we rear. So, but this year we're changing the way we do things. We're going to buy fish in bigger again to try and reduce cost again. Although it's more cost to buy them in, we'll have less losses. So we're going to try that this year. We're going to buy bigger fish in again. So again, we're all volunteers. We're all learning as we go along. So
have you got automatic feeders, or you go up literally to feed manually yourself every day, do you?
Currently, it's manual. There's a guy, they call him Mike the Booby. A funny story behind that.
Like the booby?
Yeah, Mike the Booby. And it's not because he got a pair of boobs, it's because Mike has fished, well, how long has Mike fished the Llyn for?
Since we were kids.
Since we were kids, and as long as we've known him, he only fishes a booby. Nothing else. Booby.
What's that other guy who's from Ralph?
Yeah, Ralph's still up there.
He's that's all he fishes is booby. White
Yeah.
one, isn't it? Or peach?
White. Yeah. Well, yeah, died with that, with the Ritz.
I thought you said he died then.
No, remember, no, he fishes a white booby, doesn't he? But he always...
There's like a pearl essence or
Yeah,
something.
so he buys raw Fritz, and then he washes in this stuff called Ritz, which makes it really like pearlescent white.
He does, yeah.
And he's like, these things they do, and him and Mike have got this like relationship where they only fish the booby, and like Ralph is a character, Mike is a character as well. Mike goes to the fish farm 365 days a year. He goes there every day.
Christmas Day as well, like.
Christmas Day.
Without fail.
Huh?
Without fail. Yeah, always there.
Yeah.
I remember I went up once or twice and you were always with your dog, eh?
Oh yeah, Bonnie. Aye.
Took a photograph of him once up there.
Yeah, I got some cracking photos. I got one up on my wall actually.
And you got a little, well, it's not a clubhouse as such, but you got a room where you tie flies as well, haven't you?
We had a porter cabin donated to us, and then we turned it into like a little like fly tying room basically. We've got 2 tables, and then we do some fly tying nights there for the members. But yeah,
You'd tie a lot, didn't you? Pair of you. Didn't convert your garage into like a
built
fly
shed.
tying?
It used to be a bar. I turned it into a
That's
fly
better
tying
than
shed.
some people's living room. I've seen pictures of it.
Yeah. All sorts of
TVs, DVDs.
TV, log fires, materials all over the walls.
Yeah.
Bit mental down there. All the rods up on the walls.
we've always like tried to get a fly tying club going. Basically, we started up the Labour Club. The Labour Club shut down. Excuse me. And then we we were going down dies and we'd go down a couple of us and then we'd try this place, try that place, but it's never been successful. We never had managed to get the people to come, if you know what I mean, and sustain it.
Mine was more of a tool shed first, though.
Yeah, but we have tried, like, and the thing is, I think there's a demand for it. It's just having the space to go and have...
Winter is the time to do it, though.
Yeah, we have tried.
I used to be a member of the Flyfishing Guild in Cardiff. I can't remember. It's still going now, actually. It's changed. It's moved to Caerphilly, I think, if I remember.
Yeah, I did a demonstration for them a couple of weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
It's in Caerphilly now somewhere, isn't
It's
it?
in the Mooney, not the Mooney.
On the square on the top there.
Yeah, it's on the hill in like a workers' men club.
Was there many people there?
Yeah, it was about 15, 16 people there. It's good. I did that through Graham Anthony from the Celtic Blob Company.
Oh, yeah.
He asked me if I go down and do some like Stillwater patterns, and I did like the egg fry. I showed him how to tie the fluff cat, and I showed him some techniques to use with rabbit fur and stuff. And then from doing that, then I went over to Ogmo Anglers, and I did a demonstration for them as well.
Yeah, I remember I used to go to the Flyfishing Guild in Cardiff. It was in Pantmawd then, and but a lot of people just went just for chat. There was only about 2 or 3 people who would tie, unless you had like a guest come along. That was interesting when they had people coming along giving talks and that. Yeah, you know, I'll call over to see that one in Caerphilly.
Yeah,
something nice to do in the winter.
Well, the thing is, I think, you know what I mean, I did actually get the information to join, to go down there on the Monday, but it's like everything else, you mean, you say you're going to do something and then something else takes over, do you mean? So yeah. I would like to go, I would like to start going down there because, like you said, it's like a social thing as well, isn't it?
But both of you tie more or less the same sort of style flies to do the still water, the small water patterns, like you said, the blobs, chamois, and not the chamois so much, fluff cats and things like that. Do either of you fish the reservoirs? Because the Llyn, I find, is like an in-between. It's not a still water. It's definitely not still water.
No.
It's nearer a reservoir than it is a fishery. There's 2 techniques that work better on certain waters, but the Llyn, you'll catch fish on both techniques, the still waters and the loch-style methods. Like, wouldn't it? Do you fish the larger waters?
We have done, haven't we? We fished Clywedog, Chew. We've done all the big ones.
Draycott, Pittsford. We did Llys of Ran when Llys of Ran was going. Yes, we have fished the big reservoirs on the boats. We haven't really fished true loch style, whereas you like fishing to the gauge and stuff. But we do fish boats, we do fish reservoirs, like. Yeah.
We've always had a laugh, haven't we?
Yeah.
It's always been a good laugh, like.
Well, very much like the features, where we'd go somewhere and do something and something would happen. It's always the same when we do trips like on boats, like we always go somewhere and something happens.
We almost sank a boat in Chew, didn't we?
We almost sank a boat in Chew.
How do you manage that?
There's a wall going through the lake, isn't there?
It's the sunken road, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Is it Heron's Green Bay?
They did tell us in the morning, boys, if you're going out, it's going to get a bit rough. You're going out on your own accord. Right over, that's off we went now. Motoring up the top end of the lake was fine going up. Coming back down into the wind, and the boat just started going up and down, and poof, we should the rudders and it was just slamming the bottom of this wall, like.
The boat?
Well, we shit ourselves. We thought we were going over.
I didn't know there was a road there.
Yeah.
Must have been low, was it?
Yeah, right down it was.
Yeah. Clywedog, what time before last, he went to Clywedog and died, stuck a big black snake in his ear, and he fainted on a boat. And I couldn't wait to put it out. I was chuffed to bits.
Was it barbed?
Yeah.
Barbed, yeah.
It was only barbed fly in his box. I was busting to get it out with the pliers. I couldn't wait to get it out.
Where did you stick in your ear? Because you got those...
straight through the top of
on
there.
the top.
Straight through it went.
I was gutted because...
if you go straight through it.
Yeah, I was gutted because as I got my pliers out, the guy sort of like, it must have like worked his way out and come out on his own. I was tamping because I wanted to put it out, like, do you mean? Yeah, so that was that. So you've had some experiences, haven't you?
You took a blob to the back of the head now.
I thought I got a picture of that.
That was in Farmo, that was.
Where did I see that? You've seen it.
That was in Farmo, that was. I remember when I went away with the Ospreys the first day, and it was Pasty, one of the boys, he's like a local legend in the valley, he's like with us, he's like, Pasty, one of the boys, like, you know. And it was the first time when I first got in the team, the Welsh team, got friends with Pasty, and like Pasty's been a friend of ours ever since for like 10 years now, and he's like, he's more or less like our grumpy old uncle, like, you know. And I was standing on the wall in Farmo, and again, it was only barbed blob I had in my box, I had a 40 plus die 5 on, and I wanged it out, and I could just feel, I thought, oh. I know the little half semicircle on the back of a hat. It hit smack straight in there. If it'd been like an inch up or inch down, it would hit the band.
Oh, yeah.
So it hit the only piece of skin on the back of my head, basically. I know I got a big head, right? Yeah. And it was in, so I know Darren Williams.
But he went through like the strap and the bit.
Yeah, another little semicircle on the back. So then, so I was walking up the wall end, so I had the reel in, and I was walking up the farm end with like a blob stuck in my hand attached to my rod.
It was orange, wasn't
It was big orange or sunburst or something like that it was. And then I remember Darren Williams, Des and all the Osprey boys, and who basically couldn't wait to put it out my head, and he did the old leader trick where you push it in and pull it with the leader. So, yeah.
You got to trust someone to do that.
Well,
if it comes out, yeah, but if it doesn't, it's painful then. Yeah. You got to do it again.
You got to do it again, exactly. Yeah, so... And I had a hook in my thumb, and I stuck in my thumb on a fly tying vice. So I had the hook in the vice, and I reached round to grab something, the hook point went in like the top of my thumb, and I'd take the hook out the vice end, and I had the hook stuck in my thumb. Remember up the shed up in Halifax? So I had to push it through and cut the barb off to get it out. So didn't win deep, like, just a bit of skin.
I remember there was a time up the Llyn, down by the tree, between the pier and the tree. It was a cold day, and it was like November, October time, something like that would have been. And I was having these fish, and they were £1.50 to £2, maybe something like that. This is a few years ago. And I was fishing a team of flies, and then I had another one, and I got a bit blasé. Instead of bringing the net out, I grabbed the fish, and he was on either the point or the middle dropper. And I just grabbed the fish, and he slipped out of my hand, and he just darted out. But the dropper then stuck in my middle finger. So I had a 2-pound trout on my little finger. Fuck. I was screaming. Even though it was cold, I could still feel it. Like,
You're going to beat us where out, okay? You're going to beat us where out.
Jeez, no, that was no fun. But
we've had some good cracks, haven't we? Well, 3 of us. Yeah, we've had some good laughs over the years, like, haven't we?
Remember the time we went somewhere and we got lost, the sat-nav didn't work?
Oh, I remember that like it was yesterday. And Ceri was filling the sat-nav in. Work.
Straight I lost it.
But it wasn't because he was taking us the wrong way, was it? It kept falling off the
windscreen.
Off the bracket, yeah. And it kept falling down, and you kept putting it on. And it was like, I wouldn't swear, it was the effing sat-nav. And then you put it back on, it'd fall off. And in the end, he just started punching it. And I remember he just threw it into the footwell of the car.
Yeah. I remember that.
That was the old golf, wasn't it?
Yeah. That's right, yeah.
With the dowel back.
Dowel back, aye. Yeah. But you don't, I notice your flies you tie in, you don't go into tie, well, I don't see any, like, wets.
No, I don't bother with them, really.
No. Do you actually fish for wild browns at all? Like on the lochs, like Talabont, or...
We haven't done Talabont, haven't we? We've done it a couple of times, haven't we?
No, when Talabont was there, was the
Oh, the top one and Brecon, wasn't it? What was that called?
The Beacons. And we went up to... I've been up to Llyn Valley, I think, twice. Me, you, Ben,
that's right, Di.
Crag went up the second time, and the first time I went up, it was with Pate.
That was rough weather as well, wasn't it?
That was rough. That was good weather. That was, and again, it's like one of those things. We plan a trip and we always have the weather. I have tied wet flies. I've tied loads of flies in there, but I have tied wet flies. We have used them, but not like the wets that you were used to, like using them in Ireland with the big bumbles and the big, like the traditional wet flies.
Yeah.
Normally it's like new materials, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like with like the sort of the modern stillwater fishing, it tends to be a lot of synthetic materials these days, isn't it? And not so much the natural materials, like for the wild fish, so to speak. So, although we do use natural materials like rabbit and hackles and hen and cock fibres, still small stillwater tends to be more synthetic stuff like rubbers and lians and frits.
Going back to the competitions now, the internationals. So you've this. So when is the international this year for you?
This year is in Eldine. That's
the
end of this month.
End of this month?
End of this month. The one end of this month was supposed to be fished last October, but England had trouble with the hotel we were staying in. So now we've had to postpone it until the end of this month.
You fished there before, have you?
I fished it a few times before, yeah.
Yeah.
Good place, good fishy.
Yeah. I fished it
We've always done well, haven't we?
Yeah.
a year ago with David Harpy. There's only there's a complex of lakes, isn't it? There's only 2 lakes which were half we could fish. Everything else was rock solid, frozen.
Is it?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, iced over. And we had, lost count, tigers.
Yeah,
Got a lot
you've
of
got quite
tigers,
a
haven't
big
you?
quite a big population of tigers up here, haven't you?
Yeah.
We was up there a couple of months ago, it was waterlogged. All the banks, it was full of water. You walk
Nice venue, isn't it?
yeah, you're losing
it
your
was
feet. Couldn't see your feet. There was so much water about the place.
Yeah.
Mad it was, but the fishing was still alright.
You was saying about it was frozen over. I remember I walked on water, actually, I have, on the Llyn.
Oh yeah. When we were kids, frozen over.
Oh, we have.
I didn't go all the way over. I went probably about a casting distance, 30 yards out. I got a photo of me on it, like. Yeah.
Oh, we didn't.
Oh,
Didn't go that far, did we?
We didn't go that far.
Didn't?
We've walked on ice on the Llyn. But then obviously when we were younger, Di's mother used to take us over in the old red Montego, innit?
Yeah.
oh, is it?
But yeah, so we have walked on ice in the Llyn, but then obviously then it was like, get back, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously we were kids then.
I got a photograph of me standing in the middle of Llyn On. Llyn On.
Yeah.
The 3 Bertha ones, the
Yeah.
bottom one. I
when it was
wasn't
drained?
fishing. Huh?
When it
No,
was
no.
drained or it was dry?
No, it was iced over.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I went with my mate and I had my camera then, and he photographed just to prove we were there. Like, he didn't fish, obviously he couldn't fish, but it was about 3 or 4 people walking. I thought, they're off their head, like, and then I went out about 1 foot, 2 foot. I thought, it is like concrete, and I was jumping on this, and I thought, no. So I carried on walking, and I went out probably about halfway, and I wouldn't do it now. I was about 17 then. But,
Well, for obvious reasons, I definitely wouldn't do it now.
I'd love to have a go doing this ice fishing, huh?
Would you?
Yeah. It's cozy as well. They got like this tent, baby thing.
Oh, you would basically drag this little hut and then drill a hole in.
Did all
Would you?
Oh, I'd love to do that just to say I've done it. Like.
But
Yeah.
one fancy, yeah.
So what's your goals this year?
Win gold.
Gold
Team win gold in it.
in Ellerdine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if this one Ellerdine was for last year, really,
Yeah.
this year you can have 2 internationals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Ireland.
Ireland's the next one.
So that's what the trials in Foxes was for October in Ireland this year.
What, you're not sure the venue yet?
Yeah,
Not
I
sure
think
yet, no.
I think they alternate, so they go north south.
Where was it last year then? Or last?
It was in Leash Angling Centre, which is in the south. So that means it's going to go up north somewhere, we're thinking. And that was going to be October time, mid to end October.
We normally find out presentation night on the internationals anyway, where it's going to be held.
After I did the international in Ganfrewd, I did a podcast with Campbell Baird. He's a character, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he was the last one up at the end of the night.
Yeah. Good laugh, he is.
Yeah, he's like Campbell.
Good fisherman.
Cheeky Campbell. Yeah. It's mad because the Bank International, like I tell you mean it's the same people. So it's same for Scotland. England, obviously, don't be wrong, Scotland got massive numbers at trial. Ireland got quite a few numbers, and England got quite a few numbers, but it's always the same people, same characters. You get into like Brian Kerr, and you know what I mean?
So the trials you do every year are for that year. So when's the next trials for next year then, if somebody's interested in fishing?
I'm hoping to change that. I'm hoping to go back to what we used to do before, because we used to do the international, and then we'd have a trial straight after, within like 2 or 3 weeks. So then you have more or less a full year in the team. But then for whatever reason they changed to like January, February, and then that year then you'd have the international. But I would like to change it back to go to do the international, then trial around the same time as the international, so it's the same weather conditions and that sort of thing, and then trial the following year then. So you're basically in the team for the full year.
So the thing is now we got 2 Welsh teams fishing internationals this year.
Yeah, so we got obviously this team, the 2024 team, still going to fish the international in Ellerdine, and then we got the 2025 team that's trialled in Fox Hill, which are going to fish the international in October.
Yeah, that's all right.
So Yeah.
It's good to think that that Llyn has produced anglers, you know, like Brown Bowl winner and top rod and manager.
Yeah.
To
And
think,
don't get me wrong, the team collectively, we've had a couple of silvers as well. We've had a couple of thirds, like individual thirds, and a couple of silver medals. But we just haven't had that. It's that next thing. We need to try and get to that next level. And we've got the stamp of anglers. I mean, we've got the people who are committed to it. We just need that little.
As a team, we've just been unlucky, haven't we?
Yeah, there's always that little thing which we.
Those 1 or 2 pegs just creep away through the day, do you mean? And
one thing I noticed with the Stillwater internationals and the competition scene, you've all got boxes
Yeah.
and you're all sitting down. Now, is there a reason tactic for that, or is it just like it's convenient?
Well, normally
bank anglers in a reservoir, they wouldn't sit down.
Yeah, but for the small Stillwater competitions, they normally got like jetties, pegs, and what you normally find is when you sit down in your box, you're either fishing a bung, so you're concentrating. So if you sat down, you're concentrating. Or when you're fishing things slow, that's what I do. If I'm pulling or doing anything like fast work, I'm stood up. When I sit down is when I'm concentrating or doing something slow.
And you're connected quicker to the fish.
Yeah.
Because when you're standing, that angle.
the angle of the rod's coming down, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was always taught, mewn tip ar y dŵr.
Tip of the door.
Yeah.
Tip in the water.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Oh, well, probably, was it?
Yeah, it was actually, yeah. He's like, mewn tip ar y dŵr. That was in the first Charlton International I was in, And he was like, and then he'd have a slap in. If you like, if
Do you know what I noticed as well on that competition, on that day? Number of fish, of anglers playing fish with a rod down.
Yeah.
At an angle, but down.
Yeah.
Do you notice that?
I was
don't know if
controlling
it's
for
a
that
trend.
one. I
now.
mean, you were talking about that, weren't we?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Right, I do that. I try to
Do you
keep.
find they come in quicker?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where it's. I suppose if you think about it, you maintain pressure on the fish, and there's no potential of any slack. If you know what I mean. So I don't know whether it's. But I did do that. It's like we were doing at Fox Hill on the weekend, you cast out, you have a fish on, and then you could just literally strip the fish in, and then when you come in close, then you put the rod up and then land the fish. I don't know if I've always done it that way, or whether you sort of like inherit it from seeing other people do it, but for some reason, that's the way I do it now. You keep your fish, you tip close to the water, and you just pull the fish all the way in.
Yeah.
And if you keep coming, the fish will keep coming, and you play the fish at the end then.
I tend to keep mine up more most of the time. I do, like.
Your missus said that.
She didn't say that.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
I always have it up.
Yeah,
I do.
I always keep mine straight up.
Because if there's any sudden movement, it's
Yeah.
going to take.
In my head,
there's no jar then.
I want that bar. I want that point of the fly facing up.
Yeah.
So if they look on the top of that, I'm still pulling up and keeping their head up in the water.
The number of times I see people playing fish, they bring in the rod in, line in, and the rod isn't up.
Yeah.
At the end,
No,
that's the time it's going to break. Then,
No, at
any
the
sudden
end,
movement.
at the end of the, when you sort of like know that you've got the end of the flying and come in, my rod is up then, and any like sort of like sudden movements, and you can deal with it, can't you? Yeah. But I don't know what I do though. I found I've done that the last couple of years. Keep the rod in and pull the fish in. I remember when in Gam Food, remember we had those, all those non-stretch lines, the camo lines, the Rio camos, you basically roly-polying fish in. We were fishing worms, roly-polying. The fish would take it, and you just keep roly-polying, the fish would come all the way in, and then you'd net it. It's strange. Strange how it changes, like. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see people's view on that, mate.
We were talking about flies the other day, weren't we? Saying that the flies we used to use 10 years ago, we can go up and now use them and they just won't work.
Yeah.
But
That's strange because they're different fish, isn't
different fish,
Yeah.
different fresh stockfish, but they don't want to know.
Again,
So what's changed in that water for those fish not to like those flies, which used to do so well?
is that in your head though?
I don't think it is, though.
Because if we think about it, you know, sometimes it's like everything, and you move on to the next thing, you know.
Like we've had patterns, which you've got, every time you've got to catch 20 fish, easy. Some days, 12 o'clock, you're out there because you've had 20,
Yeah.
and you're getting boring. But then the next day, poof,
But I think fish don't chase like they used to.
I still got patterns in my box that you always go back to, like the Brandlin. You mean the Brandlin? We've had that for a long time. You mean it's like a little olive zonka pattern that I use. You a ruby black zonka thing. There are patterns that are in our fly boxes and are classed as team flies. So you know, like every year the Welsh team has a different team. there are always flies that we use that seem to carry over. So there are still flies that we don't forget about and still work. But then, yeah, it's just go-to patterns, isn't it? And you, like you said, you do forget about stuff sometimes. You think, oh.
What would be your 3 go-to then? Ask you both now.
Yeah, blue bead damsel for me, for a lure.
Booby damsel?
Blue bead damsel.
Or blue bead?
Blue bead, yeah. Blue bead on the point.
Oh.
Egg under the bung. Probably be a foam dahlia on the surface.
Or for the Llyn we pick in?
Anywhere, really. If somebody said,
and still the same for Stillwater, really.
Mine would be definitely a Brandlin. Black fluff cat. And I say the Chaos egg.
Chaos egg?
Yeah.
That's a new one on me.
Well, it's basically like a fly name we came up with. It was basically, the fly came about in Leash Angling, actually, Southern Island. And Ian Christie from Flybox, back then I was like under this, like the signature tie-in with Ian. And he released this egg yarn called Chaos. It was like a pinky sock-eye colour and it had like a bluey UV tint running through it. So we tied a biscuit egg and we had like a Chaos spot. And that was the fly of the moment up to Leash Angling, so we called it the Chaos egg because of the material, and ever since then, there's a dozen.
What colour's the spot? Just like a marker pen?
No, the spot is actually the Chaos egg yarn. So you tie it on.
That's the brand Chaos, is it?
Chaos is like the colour or the type of fritz that it was, like egg yarn that it was.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where it came from, and there's a dozen of those in my box, really good egg pattern. So yeah, I'd have the black fluff cat, the Brandlin, and the Chaos egg. That's what I would have. What about you?
This one. I put on the spot now, I don't know.
Yeah, but I bet they probably...
Black snake, green snake.
And a pink one.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, no. Funny enough, it's only in recent years I've started using snake, probably the last 2 years, early season and end of the year. Yeah. What I find with snakes, they don't stay on. You know, you hook, for every one you hook, 2 will come off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they don't stay on, do they? But they get big fish. Yeah.
Yeah, so what's with 3 flies then? Would you base with 3 flies on 3 flies in general? Because I bet you with 3 flies would be totally different to ours because of the type of water you fish.
Yeah, I think there's a fly, I mentioned it in another podcast, is I call it a shuttle hop. Basically, it's a cross, like a black CDC shuttlecock with legs. Because I think any fly with legs, it adds a little bit more traction. So a CDC with legs, shuttlecock. I've had so many fish up at Llyn with that.
Is it?
Oh, not just at Llyn, everywhere. Browns and rainbows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, deadly fight. That's for the dry. I think for... it'd have to be probably a Djalbach.
Yeah.
So a Djalbach.
Classic.
Yeah. And on the point then...
And you said it right as well.
Oh, Djalbach.
Or a dial back.
I think a big fish taker is the damsel.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd have to think about that, really. I think you could comfortably go through a season with 12 flies.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the things that we do for the bank team, actually, in the competition on comp day. Obviously, leading up to it, you have a couple of practice days. And we tend to have like a comp box. And you tend to sort of narrow the patterns down to basically, because you're allowed to carry 3 rods, and we try to narrow it down so you have 3 flies per rod, which is a dozen flies for comp day, rather than having a massive box full of multiple different choices. Sometimes you sit
we
there.
We do with the Llyn as well, don't we? Yeah. Trouble is with the Llyn, because you've got the steep wall, the grass bank, you can't carry a box around there to sit on. So most of the time you've got a pack with you, or just one box in your vest, and just walk around all day.
Another top fly, actually, you got to mention it. It's a Camasan B200, like a heavy long shank.
Yeah.
A size 10 or 8 airs you.
Yeah?
On a point.
Well, that big?
Yeah. Size 10, sometimes an 8. Copper wire, so it's quite a weight on it. And quite spiky, you know, like an airs you. It's like a good general all-purpose like imitating pattern.
See, you don't see flies like that being used much more, do you? Really,
Oh,
like,
I will always.
not like in like the like sort of like this day and age, like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you think I am, man?
Well, we know far behind you now.
A lot of those methods are dying out now.
Yeah. It's mad how things have moved on, though, because, you know what I mean, when me and Di first got into fly fishing, through obviously Gordon up the street and Di, and then obviously we go into the fish farm, well, then came fly time, innit?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
That's baby dolls and things like
Yeah,
that.
baby dolls and foam back fry.
You have to pinch all your nan's
Gold
wool from
medalers.
the house to tie them up.
But that's what we started on. And then obviously the classic catch
Whiskey
whiskers
fly,
stuff.
Sweeney Todd.
Yeah. But then...
It's those sort of flies, I'm going to do it, is like just for tie-in methods. I mean, they look lovely flies.
Yeah.
Just to tie them, I'll get if you're going to fish them or not. It's nice to go back to fish to those, tie those flies you used to fish with.
But that was the, if you remember, that was the feature we did in Letchstead, don't you remember? We did the old versus the new.
Yeah, we did.
So I tied like walkers, mayfly nymphs, didn't I?
That's right.
And dog nobblers.
Yeah.
Against like the chamois and like the fluff cats, if you remember. So it's like a bit of a contrast in like sort of the old versus the new.
Have we been to any of the ones down in Hampshire? Like,
No.
I've done Avington and Dever and stuff like that.
I don't know.
To be honest, it was like one of those things, innit? We always spoke about it years ago and going on, but we never...
It's a long way to go for a 3 pound fish.
Yeah.
Because that is really what you get. The big ones, you do hear of them, but most of the fish you caught, that's the sort of stock size.
If you think about it, okay, well, you know yourself, over the last like sort of 8 years, we've been spoilt with the Llyn, I mean.
Oh, there's nowhere to touch it.
Yeah.
Nowhere to touch it. Like, what's the ticket now? 25, is it?
Day tickets 25, but obviously we've
Gotta
changed
be with
that.
a member.
You've got a guest to a member, and that's only really to protect the members, really, because obviously when it became popular and we would have an stamp of fishing and you'd have a lot of day tickets, so to protect the members, we changed the way we did day tickets. I suppose a little bit selfish from a club, but I mean, you got to look after your members, because at the end of the day, they're the bread and butter, and that's where the money comes from. So
Yeah. And what's the members now? 130?
150.
Number of members.
We capped at 150, we are.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is. A couple of times I've only been last year, probably 10 times, I would say. And it was a couple of days I couldn't find a place to park.
Yeah.
It's just that. But what I love, if you stocked, say, 2 weeks ago, that's the time I'd want to be here.
You
'Cause
don't
a lot
want to
of
be there.
anglers- No, I want to be there
All right, okay.
when it's quieter.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of anglers, any water, not just up here. You know, once they've stocked, they wait 3 days, 4 days, and then, you don't see them then.
Yeah.
I
We
like-
had that trouble for years, didn't we? The stocking, the boys used to stock on a Friday or Saturday. You'd have all the locals got by smashing in the first 2 days. And I'd be that, you wouldn't see no one with
And that was one of the things that we changed, wasn't it? When like, obviously me, Di, Craig and the boys come back into the sort of... We had like a couple of years where we were sort of like, went a bit stray when we started drinking and all that crap and going clubbing and stuff like that. So we went away from it then. And then obviously when we grew up a little bit, we came back to it. And when we came back to it, we sort of like changed the way we did things, and that changed the way. So you built up ahead of fish in the water, because now it doesn't matter when you stock now, because you can stock like today and not stock for like 8 weeks, and you still go up the Llyn and catch fish, and you have decent fish.
Absolutely, yeah.
So again, that's through the way that we dig things, we change things like. But
One thing I forgot to do is ask as well, how many caps you've got? Like, how many caps you've got, international caps?
I think this is my 5th one now, is it? I think Eldine's my 5th cap. And Island then will be 6th.
And what about you then?
I've got 6 caps out.
Do you still try to get in the team, trial yourself? Or because you are a manager, you don't?
I didn't last year. I did this year, obviously to make the team up. But obviously I got reserve this year. But
All right.
I got soaked to my pants, I did. I forgot my waterproofs. So I got soaked twice. So...
No fun, you can't fish when you're wet.
I could feel it running down my butt crack.
Ugh.
I was that, and honest to God, right, I was like, I went up to the cabin and I thought to myself, right, if I get changed now, I can go back out and catch the last 2 pegs in the morning session. But I thought to myself, if I do that now, that means I can't fish this afternoon. And then this afternoon was allegedly supposed to be better than the morning. First peg in the afternoon, it hammered down. I got soaked through my pants in the second round, so I only fished, I think, 3 hours, or 3 pegs, which is like 2 hours. It's not nice.
It's not.
So, but yeah, so I did manage to get reserve. So I'm the travelling reserve manager.
I remember talking about like bad weather. I remember what I used to do when I used just start a car, one of my first cars. I was working in Cardiff. I had a Fiesta then, and I was so into the Llyn, even though the Cardiff's the opposite way. I used to be up the Llyn 5 o'clock, fish about up at 7, and then go to work then in Cardiff. And I remember this one day, start the season, I timed it wrong. I went up like 5 o'clock and he was black. I thought I should have waited, like, you know, and I was waited up at the top, up by the ice cream viewing point there. And it was howling wind. The car was moving as well, like, you know, it was lashing down the rain. And I thought, shall I just go home? And I thought, no, I'll drive down. So I drove down now. We drove down to the Llyn, and I drove alongside the wall. And I was on the wall by the trees one side. And the car was moving now and again like that, right? And it was a hint of light now, right, coming through. And I determined, I'm here now, I'm going to wait a little bit more. Next thing, right, there was a bang on the passenger seat, on the window, right? I looked like a sheep, a full-blown sheep, ran up the wall, jumped over, didn't realise that the car was there, and he hit the window of the passenger side.
I thought you were going to say the wind picked the sheep up and threw it at the car.
I'd always jump more the sheep on me.
Yeah.
Well, I've enjoyed the chat. One more question I want to ask you both now. I think I know the answer to this. I'll ask Di first. Where would you want to be to make your last cast?
It'd have to be where you started, wouldn't it? Llyn Fawr for me. Grass bank. Probably summertime.
And what about you?
I say the Llyn as well, where it all started. And to be honest, I think I'd go spring going into summer, and I would say grass bank where it goes shallow into deep, where the banking flattens off to you and you got a little drop off. That's what I say.
With peregrine soaring above.
Yeah.
I remember years ago walking on the steep bank, and I was coming under the tree, and there was ashes and flowers there. So somebody else must have done it.
I was going to say, I wonder how many people who have been to the Llyn over the years and fished the Llyn over the years and been member for all the years, because there's like a lot of them, would actually answer the same as well as three have answered.
Yeah.
Probably most of them.
If you've enjoyed this podcast and want to listen to more, please consider becoming a Patreon, where you'll get weekly podcasts and access to over 200 episodes, behind-the-scenes photography to go with each episode, plus other exclusive content and prizes. To become a Patreon, visit patreon.com/casting with Ceri Jones, or you can find the link on my website, castingwithcerijones.com. That's all for now. Tight lines, and may they always be up in the wave.